division, and once again we'll restrict ourselves to only whole numbers for now. Similar to multiplication, division can be thought of in several different ways. One of the ideas is repeated subtraction. In this case, 12 divided by 3, we want to repeatedly subtract 3. 12 minus 3 is 9, 9 minus 3 is 6, 6 minus 3 is 3, and 3 minus 3 is 0. Since it took us a total of 4 subtractions of 3 to get to 0, our solution would be 4. We can also think of a division problem in terms of a multiplication problem. In this case, a problem such as 12 divided by 3 is equal to what can be thought of as 3 times what is equal to 12. Another way we can think of division is using rectangular arrays. In this case, 12 divided by 3 would mean we want to build a rectangular array with 3 rows and then a total of 12 smaller squares. For this way of thinking of it, I would have a rectangular array with 3 rows that would have 3 squares. Adding a second column would give us a total of 6 smaller squares. A third column would give us 9 squares. And a fourth column gives 12 squares. Since it took 4 columns, our solution would be 4. In division, the number we divide by is known as the divisor. In the problem 12 divided by 3 equal to 4, the number 3 would be the divisor. The number we're dividing into is known as the dividend. In the problem 12 divided by 3 equal to 4, the number 12 is the dividend. Finally, the result of the division problem is known as the quotient. For 12 divided by 3 equal to 4, the number 4 would be the quotient. When dividing numbers, we think of the division in pieces. And to demonstrate this idea, we'll start with this problem 1072 divided by 8. We start by considering how many times I can divide 1 by 8. In other words, if I had 8 groups and I had 1 item, how could I evenly split that? I can't because 1 is smaller than 8. So we move to the next digit and instead consider 10. 10 divided by 8. Since 8 times 1 is equal to 8, 8 can go into 10 one time. I write the 1 above the 10, and then I subtract 8 to see how many are left over after I divide 10 by 8. The answer is 2, and then we bring down the next digit. So the next problem wants to know what is 27 divided by 8. We have that 8 times 3 is 24. That's the closest we can get to 27 without going over. We write a 3 in our next place value, and then subtract that 24 to figure out how many we have left over. We would have 3 left over, and we bring down the next digit. So 32 divided by 8. Since 8 times 4 is 32, we would write the 4 in our next place value and then subtract 32 to see how many we have left. Once we do that, we have 0 left over, and there's no more place values to bring down. So my final answer, 134. As another example, consider 6,392 divided by 5. We start by seeing how many times we can divide 6 by 5. Since 5 times 1 is 5, we write the 1 at the top and subtract the 5 to see that we are now going to have 1 left over. And we bring down the next digit. So next we want to know 13 divided by 5. Since 5 times 2 is 10, we write the 2 at the top and subtract the 10 to see that now we have 3 left over. And we bring down the next digit. So now we have 39 divided by 2. Since 5 times 7 is 35, we write the 7 at the top and subtract 35 to see how many we have left over. We have 4 left, and we bring down the next digit. So now finally we have 42 divided by 5. We write the 8 at the top and subtract 40 to see that we have 2 left over. But we don't have another digit to bring down. So this means my final solution is 1,278 with a remainder of 2. We often, next to our quotient at the top, the 1,278, write R2 to indicate that we do still have a remainder of 2. There are some divisions that are special. The first, if I divide any number by 1, I get that same number, or a divided by 1 is equal to a. For a more concrete example, 6 divided by 1 is equal to 6. Along that same line, dividing a number by itself will give you 1. In other words, a divided by a is equal to 1. As a more concrete example, 4 divided by 4 is equal to 1. Division involving 0 is also very special. Dividing 0 by a number will always result in 0. In other words, 0 divided by a is equal to 0. As a more concrete example, 0 divided by 7 is equal to 0. Let's look at why this is true. The problem 0 divided by 7 is equal to what can also be thought of as 7 times what is equal to 0. And the only number I can multiply by 7 to get 0 would be 0. So I can see that 0 would go in both of my squares here. If I divide a number by 0, it's undefined. In other words, a divided by 0 is undefined. As an example, 3 divided by 0 is undefined. So let's look at why this is. The problem 3 divided by 0 equals what can also be thought of as 0 times what is equal to 3. But there's no possible number to fill into that blank. Multiplying any number by 0 would always give me 0. So there's nothing that can go into the blank, which is why this problem is undefined.
If you would like to see Professor Pierce make more videos like this one, you can support her on Patreon in the link below. Any and all support means a lot to her. It allows her not only to make more videos, but it also allows her to campaign for free and accessible online education to conferences and other universities. Thank you for watching, and remember, math is for everyone.